Oh,
We already
25?
know a 25-year-old, 30-year-old man really don't know what they want. You know what I'm saying? It's too much in the picking for a young man like that, especially if he getting a little money.
Yeah, at 25, see, a 25-year-old would turn me into a hairdresser again.
They said the young boy tell you, well,
What?
I got an old man, he still shit out of me.
He's
But
not even old. Oh, he, first of
but
all,
he
Tip
he
ain't
younger
old.
than me, so I guess
How old is
he
Tip?
still, huh?
How old is Tip? He my age, right?
He 39, he'll be 40 at the end of the year. I mean,
Oh, he getting up there.
he going to the 40-40 club, you know what I'm saying?
I would say between 32 and 42, I can find my sweet spot somewhere in there.
32 or 40. That's good for you type.
Somewhere that's somewhere
I think
somewhere
so too. I think so too. That'd be
and let
good.
me tell you why I'm saying that age. You think about what I was at 32. See, if it's a grown strong man at 32, it's real different than everyday 32. 35 is
Yeah, you got. Listen. We ain't gonna never say that you can't find no good, mature 32-year-old that kind of
now
knows
I'm not
what
stuck on
direction.
that. I'm just saying that's the lowest.
Yeah,
That's the lowest.
that's
And I think the highest for me would be 45. 45 would be
45.
the 45 would be the highest, I think.
I'm ready, baby.
You know what? Maybe I could push it to like 49.
Hey man,
49.
we got to fly during the pandemic, man.
No, we don't.
Yeah, man, we got to, man.
Where we flying
We got the experiences.
to? Man,
We got to go check on our other property out in LA.
No, baby.
Here, grab this.
Give me this.
You got to check on our other property, man. I want to see.
See, I'm gonna
You gonna
tell
have
you
to
something,
play
Meek.
like
I
flying
know
brothers.
some I know some 49-year-old immature ass dogs.
Hey, come on, we gonna fly private
So
for $30.
You say I keep moving. I am moving, baby. I'm moving around, baby. Shit, mama. I mean, she kind of talking about 55.
no,
Come
55
on,
too
go ahead
far.
on with that 55, mama.
55
Girl.
too far, sister. 55, you don't
55.
went too far. You don't went too far. But
Oh my! I just found that out.
I
You
know
know
some
what?
old dogs.
Tamika's a multi-generation.
I ain't no multi-generational nothing. Yeah, wrong with you?
Listen,
I ain't got it.
I know some old dogs. I know some old fools. I know some old cheats. I know some old think no good job have don't want to do right for nothing, 49. So I'm not even gonna
Doing
say
right, doing the right
that
thing.
age would just be the hardest requirement. I just need somebody who
I
love
appreciate that.
God,
How's it
love
going?
their kids, love their mama, somebody that's wise, emotionally available, and somebody that every now and then is still a little about it. Because you got to be able to handle your business, maintain your household, and head it up. Because I don't want to
That's a
be the head.
blessing.
Yeah, because you want
Yeah, well,
somebody that ain't scary, don't you?
Yeah,
You want
yeah.
somebody that, you know what I'm saying?
that's a
Listen,
blessing.
let us set you up on a little date.
Man, let that lady live her life, sister. Don't listen to this woman, sister.
Man, it's me. You gonna help him.
This woman been married
Let
longer
her on
than
the date. You
all
see,
of
he
us.
talking about me. I'm trying to bring him in to help me.
Hey, listen, she
Yeah,
ain't gonna do nothing but she ain't finna do nothing but bring you a bunch of rich people. That's all she care about. Just
that's
rich people.
that's
That's
not
not
all my friend
he's
care
lying.
about.
That's all she care about is money.
Well,
That's
That's
it.
not all. Thank you.
let's go back.
We done seen her taste.
Wait, what's her taste? Tip? Wait, what's her taste?
We done seen what she like.
What's her taste?
He
Cause
got jokes.
for about 2 decades, it ain't been nothing but
Right,
you.
exactly.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
And my friend, listen,
I'm
my friend
forcing
been
her to
married.
stay silent. You know
My
what I
friend
mean?
been
I'm
married
forcing
longer.
her to stay silent. She
You,
had her way. She had her way. She'll be gallivanting somewhere on the French Riviera with her feet kicked up with a bunch of money and nothing else. You hear me?
what is wrong with him today? Okay, well then put the phone back on him. I challenge him. Chip,
Uh,
why don't you Send me on a blind date.
Yes, I'm out for that, and I'm gonna help him because I know what you need. You see what I'm saying?
Oh my
Yes.
God! What? How you know what somebody need? Hey man, let me call you back. I have
know
a
what you
clear
need.
emergency. She was trying to ruin somebody's life. Let me call you right back, okay?
I am gonna help you. I ain't trying to ruin nobody's life. I'm trying. This is my baby. I'm trying to help her.
I think I feel in my heart that Tip knows someone.
Are you happy,
Yes,
darling?
he
That's
do.
the first thing.
Yes,
Are
she
you
happy.
happy?
She
I'm
happy.
happy as hell. I
All
just
right,
took a whole bunch of time to just get me together. And
right.
so now they suggest your wife suggested I do a dating show, and that ain't up for negotiation. But a strong blind date, only chosen by y'all two,
Mm,
I would try that.
mm.
I would try that. I've never um done that. Um
She done put us to the
But
test.
check this out, right? Look, see, this is my thing. I just don't want I don't want none of the responsibility to come behind other people's actions. You dig what I'm saying? You know, because when you set somebody up with somebody, that means you're responsible for this person's actions that you set them up with. I don't want you calling me, Tip, oh, you gonna put me, did what you gonna do? You gonna put me with this one? You know what I'm saying?
well, no, what'll happen is he'll call you and be like, man, shout crazy as hell. I said this and she said that. I can handle myself. If cause see, this is the thing. It does when you set somebody else, it does make you feel responsible, but that'll make you think harder. That'll make it mean more. And listen, if it don't work, we've been through hell and high water together. Ain't gonna be no hard feelings. I'm gonna tell you, friend, he ain't gonna work. Ain't gonna work. And we gonna move on.
Somebody on here
But
say you. I got to butt in. Somebody in here say you need to get with Usher.
Man, you always butting in. Listen.
what?
Hey, listen. Stop. See, you see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Now,
Stop.
anyone who knows the both of you know that y'all have already had every opportunity to get with each other, and if y'all wanted each other, you'd already had each other. That already tells you all that'll tell you all. That'll tell you already well ahead at. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying? I mean, not to say that Usher would be a bad idea or a bad shot for any reason, but I'm just saying
We
I know
like
both of y'all.
siblings.
I know both of y'all.
Yeah, we like siblings.
Yeah, you dig what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Honey, get off my shoulder, please. All in my. Let me talk a little bit.
And contrary to popular belief, we
Hey,
never dated
she
or
trying to
anything.
control my conversation. You hear me? She want to tell me what to say and what not to say. Nah, man. But yeah, man. I think that you have to be very, 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 very selective. I think with you, you are a national treasure. You dig what I'm saying?
Oh.
And I wouldn't just I wouldn't take that responsibility lightly. Twinsies.
How are you?
Yeah, I wouldn't take that responsibility lightly. But I think, brother, I think oh, I'm sorry. I just walked in on Pooh Bear session.
Ooh.
I tell you what, let me let you talk back to her while I get myself together. I'm gonna think on it. I'm
Yeah,
gonna think on it for 1
go
second. I'm
collect
gonna
your
think on it
thoughts
for
because
1
there's no brain like yours. Go collect your thoughts. I give some time. And I just won't listen to
You
her till we
did.
talk again because she
Yeah.
was tripping just then.
Don't let yeah.
Listen,
But
give me
look,
this cup.
just listen. Follow your heart. Follow your heart.
Follow your heart.
Follow your heart, darling. Your heart ain't never led you wrong. You hear me?
That's a lie.
Never led you wrong. Follow you. It
That's
ain't
a
about the
lie.
heart right now.
We setting it up.
Please don't let the world change you, okay, sister?
Now, go get my pizza, please. I'm hungry. Monica,
Friend.
I did not say the thing. I just read to you
I know
what
we
the
was
cat.
messing with
What?
you.
Yes, please, because
Somebody said, "Oh my gosh," Shakana said Rocco gonna y'all. No, no, listen. He
And
He
you
going
know, baby
steady.
don't want nothing to do with it. He probably he ain't even thought as far as the baby daddy. See, you know what I'm saying? He probably like, oh, yeah.
I
But
mean, well,
but he ain't
I
gonna
mean,
kill me
we've
though.
been apart for what? We've been apart for 10 years. And like over the last few I would say over the last maybe like 6 months, he really has become one of my best friends. Because see, what people don't understand is when you raising kids together, stuff start going in stages. You
Yeah,
have some
yeah.
stages where you're disagreeing and you're back somebody saying, nah, he like family too. But like sometimes you go
Well,
through
everybody can't
stages.
be family, Monica. Now
Tamika.
we gotta find some dating. We gotta find some people to date. Just cause you don't made family with everybody.
I
You
didn't make
made
family with everybody. And stop saying that because people really
somebody
think I'm
said
friends
trouble
with.
is a good match. I've been
No, 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 no. I
I'm
was
reading
messing.
comments. David Banner or Common.
I don't know either one of them.
Well, that might be good. Common, you know what? Common could be a good man for somebody.
But he's a lady though, ain't he?
I don't know. He seems like he's a nice. He might be. You know what I'm saying? People be. But he seemed like he's a nice guy. A nice, respectable young man.
You are so funny. Okay. Yeah, Shekinah Rock is not gonna care at all.
Yeah, I
We
think that's what I was
we are
just
the
saying. I
best of
think belong.
friends.
I think you and Rock need to get another.
You always tell me that.
Yeah,
You
I think
always
you and
tell
Rock
me
need to
that.
get another. That's what I think.
But he in a relationship.
Y'all meant for
So
each other. I think y'all the only one who can handle one another's type.
oh, what is tight?
Yeah,
I'm a tight.
you a tough cookie, and he is too. You know what I'm saying? So I think you know what I'm saying.
Listen, that's where So Gone came from. My kick though game has exceeded what I used to could do.
Hold up,
I
what you
don't
say?
know, Tip.
Nah, see, I can't see. I can't sit here. I ain't gonna. I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm gonna let you talk
Look, he
back to
said
him.
I
'Cause
can't what?
I can't. Cause
What
man,
happened?
cause I'm gonna be pro Rocco. That's gonna be my issue. I'm gonna be pro Rocco.
He's in a relationship and we have not dealt with each
You
other
single
at
or you
all in
married?
like 10 and a
You
half years.
single or you married? You single or you
Married.
married? Which one is it? Is he single or is he married? That's the only thing I got to ask. That's the only thing I got to ask. Is he single or is he married?
Well,
He
he's single.
Huh? What?
he going steady.
That ain't now. That ain't. When they had a box for that on the application.
They don't have a
Single,
box
married,
for it.
going steady. I don't see it on there. So you single or you married? You dig what I'm saying?
You
Okay,
married.
Tip.
They
Where's
say
Tamika?
single till you married. And the
Where?
famous words of Shekinah Joe.
Hey sis,
Hey,
love you,
what's
babe.
up,
We
babe?
got the real,
How you doing?
south side on the on
What's
right here. You know
up?
what I'm saying?
Man, Bear been knowing me since I was 11 years old.
You know, we from the same hood, so you know I go.
Well, I know you know. I ain't know if Tip knew. I ain't know if Tip knew. Well, I'm gonna leave this subject alone. It has taken a completely different turn. I am going to exit my life expeditiously.
Hey man.
Look,
I mean that's
Shekinah
you know
on
what I'm
here
saying.
saying you single till you married.
That's just that's for real. That's forget your
I'm
move.
trying to read the comments, bitch.
Goodness, man, it
You
won't.
act like somebody own you. Ain't nobody own you.
I'm talking about you, man. I can't even.
Man, I'm reading the comments. I seen something about Rocco. I was trying to see what it was saying.
You know what I'm
Listen,
saying?
y'all,
Listen.
Jamie Foxx, somebody said. Huh?
we just playing, y'all. Don't upset his house. We playing, okay?
Nah.
Relax.
Man,
We just
please
playing. Listen, I
don't upset this house. This house don't give a about being upset.
what?
Oh, I'm talking about
Reverend.
my house. You talking about who? You talking about somebody else? You say his. I thought you talking about my
Oh
house.
no, I'm not worried about y'all house at all.
Oh, okay.
At all. At all. Y'all house so firm. Listen, y'all been married longer than all of us. Y'all weathered the storms, the hurricanes, the tornadoes.
Man.
We ain't worried. But I'm definitely just in the mind of leveling up. I'm a totally different person after coming out of all I've been through. You know what I'm saying? But I'm still a real person. I want somebody that's real and solid, know who they are already. It's unwavering. You know how when we talk, it's the same all the time. I need that unwavering. Somebody just like strong in who they are. You know what I'm saying?
Now, you know, listen now, somebody who, the person that you asking, that you're describing, can you exist with that person without changing anything about yourself?
Yes, because oddly enough, I don't want to be the head at home because I have to do that at work.
Man, you hear that?
So, oh Lord. No, seriously. I don't
I'm
want to
sorry.
be that.
Go ahead. Get your
I really want somebody that can be the head and not the tail, because I like to be led, but I love to be led right. I like to be you handle it. I gotta do all that on my job, you know. I gotta orchestrate, handle, tell people what to do, what time to do it, how to do it, which way I want it done. I don't want to do that at home. Please take over. Please.
Yep. And another thing, I see a lot of people in the comments, they keep on like famous people. You know what I'm saying? It's like famous people who
He
are
don't have
in
to
the
be famous.
spotlight, people who like, that's not the only option. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it's you know what I'm saying? You never know where you might find what God got for you.
Agreed. Agreed. And
Sometimes it's been right up
they
under your
definitely don't have to
nose
be
the
famous.
whole time. You dig what I'm saying? You
Yeah.
know?
I agree. It does not have to be somebody famous at all. It definitely has to be somebody that can handle, though, what fame brings. Somebody
Mm.
that's not going to be overwhelmed that my best friends are famous, or that I am so-called famous, or whatever the term is. Somebody that's unaffected by it. Somebody that can do everything from, I'm not at award shows 365 a week. I'm a regular person. I cook, I clean, and I enjoy those things. I raise my kids. I would like more kids. Those are the things that are in the
You want more
forefront.
kids?
Of course
Yeah.
you do.
What you mean? Of course she do. You don't know what to let.
I
Let
know
me do
you.
my
I
thing.
know
Will you let me
everything
do my
about her.
thing? Then I let you do your thing. Let me do my thing.
I know all the stuff you need to know about her.
Listen, I just can't.
She
Okay.
said she know all the stuff you need to know about me.
uh, I really do believe that because a lot of times when women go out there talking about the kind of women that they want, I mean, excuse me, a lot of times when women go out there talking about the kind of men that they want, they don't take into consideration what that man requires in
I
order
agree.
to, you dig what I'm
That's like
saying?
when people say they want a famous man. It's some hell that come with that.
Boy,
You
ain't
dig?
it?
It's
And then, you
hell.
know what I'm saying, just like with folk, you want a boss, when you get that, you prepare to, it's gonna be some bossiness that come with that. You dig what
Yeah,
I'm
I
saying?
agree. I agree.
Just like, when men say we want a boss of a woman, end up getting bossed around all the goddamn time. You dig what I'm saying? I'm just telling you, be careful what you ask for is my point.
I'm
Man.
Just be
careful.
very selective. Make
I'm
sure
careful.
your mind and heart are in alignment.
I agree. And this is the thing. I trust God to do it. We play about it all the time. I trust his will and his way, though, because I wasn't looking. The people that I met previously, and I'm proud of what my marriage was. It lasted 9 years. I have an amazing daughter. I learned a lot. I lived a lot. I wasn't looking for anything when we met. I had never heard of him. I didn't know who he was. My boys were super small, so I wasn't watching sports. I didn't know who he was at all. And it happened because it was supposed to happen. But I'm always open to something fun, because what I don't want to do is get too uptight and just
Something fun.
Fun, baby.
Honey, fun. It's time to settle down. Ain't no
no,
time
no,
for no
no,
damn
no,
fun.
no.
Fun
You
can
can
be
have
like,
fun and
yeah,
be
being
settled down.
romantic with each other, just
You
making
can
each
have
other feel
fun.
loved and
You can
special.
have
That's
fun
fun.
and be settled down. I did that. I've done that before. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. 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 And
Your
you can
daughter's a
have
little different.
settle down is fun, because your fun is safe, and it
Yeah.
can be
That's
really
right.
fun because
How
it's
about this?
just y'all.
How about this? Tell me some of your pet peeves.
My pet peeves. I don't like a man with any bitchy tendencies.
You ain't gonna be able to get around that.
What?
Because most men always have a moment where they get a little, like where they have when they get in their feelings, when they get a mood, when they get in their feelings, it's a time where you gonna be feeling like, what? Who's the man here? You know what I'm saying?
You know how your forehead shine like that all the time.
And it look good, though,
You know
don't
your
it?
forehead shine like
Thank
that
you
all the
very
time.
much.
Wait a minute. I disagree with that.
Hey, listen.
Me.
Hey,
I
look, check
disagree
this
with
out.
that.
Hey, check this out, man.
They
A
all
bitch.
have bitch ways.
Man, all y'all listen. Y'all know how they say toxic masculinity? There's a such thing as toxic femininity too. You dig what I'm saying? So you got all of these extra independent, just don't want a man. Just every time a man say something to them, that it affects them a certain way, and that I believe that comes from just like my temper, right?
Okay.
Temper that I've worked so hard to kind of keep at bay and to to keep myself cool. It comes from I've learned a complex that I have from being small, good looking, and light skinned all my life. You know what I'm saying? Growing up on
Oh,
Bankhead.
what's it called? Because my middle son got it. What's it called?
Yeah, I mean, what they call it, you know what I'm saying? They call it the short man complex. You know what I'm saying?
I just told him he got Napoleon's complex. Go ahead.
Yeah. You did. So that's a real thing, but it comes from the conditioning that comes from the environment that you in. Like for me, looking like this, being like how I am, I had to fight to show that I was smart in class. Every time when the teacher called on me to read and I could read fluently, I had to go out to the playground and hold that up. You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So as I got older and got, it just kind of it got into me.
Yeah.
But as you get to be, you settle into your masculinity or into your position as a man, you understand that every situation don't call for the same amount of aggression. Now, as women, women have that too, because y'all be fighting for position in y'all whole life. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you grew up in a house and you got brothers. You dig what I'm saying? You got to fight to be treated the same, to get the same kind of consideration, to be able to do the same thing. So you fight until you get to a place and you got to realize, okay, I've been fighting to get to this place, but now that I'm here, I ain't got to fight the person who I'm planning to spend the rest of my life with. I don't got to fight him. If he's saying something, it must be for the greater good of the both of us. So that is, I think, what she's saying as far as bitchiness and this, that, and the other. She don't want nobody to tell her. So if somebody come tell her and it backed up with facts, that's bitchiness to her. You dig what I'm saying? But it's cool. I've accepted. But see, the thing about me, I've accepted the good and the bad. You understand?
Okay.
I've accepted her.
Okay. Okay.
You did.
Okay.
That's far from what I was trying to say, but it's okay. You know what I'm saying?
Well, but I actually really understood his point, because I think people are surprised at how submissive I am and can be at home.
Now that's something I ain't heard about you now. Now that's one thing I ain't never heard.
Who you talking to? That's the problem.
I talk to nobody.
Tell them to change these sheets. It's who you talking to.
I have not spoken to anybody.
It's who you talking to. Listen, it's a lot of women in my position. When I remember having Romello. Romello was born right before Rock first album dropped. And I didn't take those 4 years off to try to be a boss. I took those 4 years off to try to be his mate and to try to be his support and to try to raise my kids. So I am wired different. Sometimes I miss the dollar for trying to create make the house a home. I do that. But my family is from Noonan, Georgia. My mama was the type of mama that she didn't really, now I haven't mastered this, but she doesn't really speak that far above a whisper. And everything is still effective. And those are things that I work on now, because when I look back over my relationships, the reason you never hear me talk bad about who I'm no longer with is because I still know that there are things about me that I'm bettering each day. And each time something doesn't work, I do a self-check. And that's why I stayed single so long this time, because I wanted to do a self-check. This whole year has been about self-evaluating, self-meditation, self. So I could figure out, okay, were there places where maybe I contributed? Were there places, and that take a lot. It's not easy. But watching my mom, I always had a great example of it. A lot of people, a lot of women, we do fight a lot to get where we need to be, but we don't have great examples of what to do in a house or how to just love somebody. One thing I do, I love somebody without condition. That's something we grew up being talked to about and stuff. That's not stuff that everybody's being
I don't
talked to
think
about.
I don't believe in that. I don't believe that men have that luxury
Have what luxury?
of being loved unconditionally.
Yes, you do.
That's
You have
not
because
true.
you get it from your mothers.
No.
Men get it from their mothers.
Nah,
Like,
wait a minute. Just wait a minute. Just hear me out, right? Women have the luxury of being loved unconditionally. Men, the love that comes from men come based on what these men can provide, what these men are bringing to the table.
Now
And that ain't necessarily got to be financial. That ain't necessarily got to be materialistic. But if you have a man in your life and that man ain't doing nothing but sitting around every time you there, he's there, you ain't got the same love if there's no provisions there. Whereas if a mom is sitting there and she's there for you, you're gonna love her unconditionally.
yeah, you can't compare. First of all, you
But
compare.
that's so.
Okay, if he
Somebody
talking about
said
mom
Young
and dad.
Dolph.
Yeah, if he talking about mom and dad, a mom, whether or not if she's just sitting there, she's probably still waiting on your food to be ready. You know
Do
what?
you see this? Somebody said Young Dolph. Now, let me tell you what's crazy. I just said yesterday I want him on this record of mine. That's so crazy. Anyway, I strongly disagree. I watched my mom.
Yeah.
Okay. There was no, I feel like knowing what unconditional love is starts
So
at
at home.
home. It starts at home first, right?
All the men in
And
my family would love based on what they could provide.
No, but if
that's
you,
unfortunate. That's
but yeah,
unfortunate. That's
exactly,
unfortunate. That could very
exactly.
well
Because
be
that's
his
what I was.
experience,
What?
though,
It
Tamika.
got to be at least 40% of men out there the same way.
No,
I could.
maybe. But what I was gonna say is, a man, if he has a good, if he had like parent, a mother and a father, whatever, that mother is gonna love him to death because mothers and sons relationships are so tight most of the
Oh, they deep.
time that
They
they
deep.
get so much love that they like. When they get older, people are like, "Oh, he a mama's boy," because they've been loved so dearly. So
Yeah.
it's not what you're saying. I disagree. I feel
It's all
like
right to disagree. I'm just
Well, I'm just saying that that
I'm
could
just giving
be.
my perspective because based on
Yeah,
my experiences.
that was
And
your
other people with different
experience.
experiences, I understand how you could feel differently. But
Now
the
you know
world
what
as
my
I
brother
see it,
says. My brother says that he hadn't found. He's like, I know exactly what I'm looking for because I felt it before. Even though it's a different type of love, it's supposed to have that level of loyalty and it's supposed to be without condition, man. And I ain't found it. He be cool with that. You know, my brother, he the last one I know with no kids, happily by himself. And you know, when he pull up, he with that, the woo woo. He about whatever. But he still is like, when I see how he interacts, not just with me, but even with my daughter, it's because of my mama loved him without condition. And we had a really trying childhood, because we had a father that, he was really about whatever. So we saw a lot really young. However, in my stepfather, I got a chance to see, I had two examples of two completely different types of men. And when they say you typically end up dating your father, I did that. I did almost exactly that. Rock was my dad all over again in a lot of ways. And it's funny because they birthday a few days apart. They both are Capricorns. You're never going to go without because they're going to work through and for whoever they with and they love. But there were also times where that love without condition had to come into play. When they say it's a federal court case and you look at me, I'm not going anywhere. The love without condition kept me there until it was over. And when it was over, it wasn't a whole lot there beyond the love. And we built the rest up. You those are the things that he knows what it is because he had felt it before from his grandmother. His mama adored him, you know. And so those things were there. So he knew what that was with me because he could acknowledge what it was. My only concern was him being happy and healthy, being able to do whatever he chose that was after that life was over. And so that love without condition had to come into play because I was still on the road. I was still getting it. I was still doing my thing. These were in my, what one would consider my prime. And I didn't have the children till way later. Way, this wasn't Rocco, I'm gonna do me. This was, you had to be from around the way to know who it was. And that didn't stop the love because it was without condition. And even when it ended, that unconditional love is what still allows the respect. And so that's why I'm saying, like, it's probably a hard thing for some men to feel like you feel, but that is their experience. But I feel like that's what makes it harder when they do come in contact with unconditional love, if it's not recognized to be just that.
I can dig that. I still feel like if a man ain't providing, he gonna be considered lesser than. If a
By
man's not
whom though?
providing, he gonna be considered lesser than. Uh,
By who?
I mean, by the people in his household. By the people in his household. That was one of the first lessons I learned in life, man. You know what I mean? You're gonna have to, man, you're gonna always need to provide for you first, then your mama and the women in your family. That was my dad taught me 3 years old. He gave me probably about, I think it might have been $2, $3 and say, man, always keep some money in your pocket. You need that. Always keep that. And you're going to have to always look out for your mama, your grandmama, and the women in your family.
All right.
So that was the example set for me that let me know in order for me to be a man that, these are the things, this the checklist. You dig what I'm saying?
But your father gave you that list, not a woman that
Yes.
loved you
Right.
unconditionally. Your
Right.
father gave you that list because that's what he felt was required of a man. That doesn't mean that if and when
I've,
something goes on.
I've later learned that that's kind of, as I look at my grandmama, love my grandmama. My grandmama was she was the matriarch of our family.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And she nurtured me as much as she, as much as she could, when she wasn't being a nurse.
Right.
But I think that, I give you an example, right? I was 15, 14, 15 years old, man, running the streets, trapping, doing all kinds of stuff, getting suspended from school, going in and out of juvenile, just doing all kinds of stuff,
Right.
you know. And she frowned upon my behavior as she should have. You dig
Right.
what I'm saying? Uh, but she always told me, like, you ain't gonna be nothing but old outlaw. You just gonna be an old outlaw. You ain't gonna never do right. You ain't gonna, what she used to tell me, you ain't gonna do right walking or riding. uh,
He said, well,
but however, my uncle, Quint, he was doing 10 years in the feds, which is her youngest child. Quint's her youngest
okay.
child. He was doing 10 years in the feds for some work. And
Okay.
he was the greatest thing ever known to man to her. He could do no wrong. So I'm doing a much smaller version of what he was doing, but I'm the outlaw and he's the angel. Why? Because he provided. He was the one rolling down the street with the first side by side refrigerator freezer
Hold on. But
unit
did you
in the
but did but
neighborhood
did
on
you
Mother's Day.
ask your grandmother why?
I wasn't man. I wouldn't, man. Back
Exactly.
then, man, I
So
was
that
brain
was
wild.
your perception of why. Let me say this. Let me give you another perspective on it. When people see me, by far my most difficult child is Romello Hill. Okay.
Okay.
He is extremely talented on the football field, the basketball court. He even introduced me to futsal, everything that you could think of, right? People call me about him when we go in places. He leaves his mark. He is just one of those ones. You know, Lil Rock is Big Rock. He relaxed with his. He move in silence. He two different personalities, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I know that a lot of what he does, I see different because I see him and what his struggles are differently.
Right.
It's almost like how you hard on King, but then you real, like right in his corner too, which is
Sure.
sometimes not often depicted properly. But you know why? You see some of you in him, and whatever that is makes you hone into that differently. See, Quint, we don't know what her struggle was with him. Like I got one aunt, and
Quit with
she
the baby.
told me is that he was a baby. But look, I'm gonna tell you this about my aunt's baby. And I used to be like, why, man, why you let him do that? You know that ain't cool. She said, listen, he was the child I was homeless with. He was the child that when my boyfriend put his hands on me, he got him off me. He was the child that so it be a lot of other stuff that's in the mix of some of those feelings sometimes that we don't always know the history about that make things that way. She might didn't feel that way or act that way about Quint just because Quint provided. She might have felt that way because she said, you know what, my baby can't even get to these streets. He might need something extra from me while he's sitting in there. And I know all his friends gonna disappear in the 10 years. Maybe one or two of them will stay down. But ain't
Sure.
nobody gonna visit like me. Ain't nobody gonna call like me. There's always some depth of story there. Like for me, when people used to ask me, oh my God, Monica, what are you doing here? And at that time, Rock was in the midst of a really serious case, and people would ask me, what are you doing here? Why? But they didn't see me when he met the young woman that had just experienced the side. You see something like that happen. It changes who you are. It changed the fact that some nights I couldn't sleep. And he would sit there and talk to me all night until I could sleep, or he could be. But people didn't get to see that side, so they
Sure.
just thought, "Oh, she just gone off. She ain't even thinking. She ain't using her head. He going through a federal case. What if this happened?" You didn't get to see why he got a certain level of loyalty and love for me, and it had nothing to do with what he bought, because I could buy myself anything. So
Sure.
that's what I'm saying is that there's a depth of story with every mother and child. My firstborn, we have a completely different thing. He almost 6 foot and a come and climb in my bed, but I have another depth of story with him. My daughter, it was a completely different thing. I was a full grown woman. I was married for the first time. There's another depth of story. So all three of our relationships are so different. And if we don't get to find out what that is, my grandmother was carried out by her husband while her 4 kids, their house caught on fire. And he carried her out because she was 8 months pregnant first. When he ran back in to get the kids, the house exploded or burned, but they all. And so my
Cool.
grandmother had a depth of story with that child that she was carrying, my grandmother. I'm telling you, like, that about depth. All of her children and her husband. And she was carrying this one child. She was 8 months pregnant with him. And her husband saved her life
Mm.
first and went back in there to get his kids. And my grandmother remarried, who became my grandfather, had many more kids. So my mother's sisters and brothers. But that one uncle, it was just something special about him. But
Of
who
course it
knows?
was.
But who knows what the depth of story was? You see? So that's why I'm saying what we think it is sometimes is not always just simply what it is. It appeared that
I can
since he
only
could
tell you
die,
what I saw.
right. But there's a depth of story
And
there.
also
You
my
see?
experience that after I became, I think my grandmama, man, was fortunate enough. She lived long enough to see T.I. right up into my first prison bid. Right over, I think she 2008, 2009. And that old outlaw that she was talking about when I was 14, 15, when I began to provide as an adult, and I was actually, then I was also then the greatest thing since cooked food. You know what I'm saying? So it was
But you know
Quint
what that might have
and
been?
then me.
But that might have been because finally she had a chance to see you do what she felt in her heart was right. Your grandmama might would have been that way if you would have decided to be a school teacher after all of that, sharing your story about how you trapped and got in trouble in a classroom. We
This is
don't
true.
know. See, the way your perception of it is just by what you saw. And I tell my boys this all the time. They got parents that's really been through it for real, for real. When Jay-Z, one of the hardest lines I ever heard was when he said, my baby mama harder than a lot of you. Oh, that's me. Because he couldn't depend on nobody like he could depend on me. You know what I'm saying? And so I tell my kids, like, you get that. You get that because it's in you. And I give you the kind of love that I want you to require someone to give you. But you got to be receptive to it, one. Appreciative of it, second. Because see, what starts to happen sometimes is that unconditional loves get taken a little bit advantage of, and everybody
That's
will start
real.
doing what they want to do. Sometimes it can go both ways. So that's why I
That's
say,
real. I think unconditional love is you know, it's dangerous.
hey, listen, we love you unconditionally. You know, the next time I was in a courtroom, listen, my friend don't cry. It was a whole lot of tears. You know what I'm saying? But I'm there.
What?
I don't give a why they got you. I don't need
She
to know
just
the
thought the money
details.
was
I'm
gonna
on the
stop,
way.
honey. Once she saw the money would keep
You a
when the
lie.
we ain't gotta move out
You
our
a
house.
lie.
Oh, you right.
We could have made a lifetime movie about you while you was in there. That's a lie. We wasn't worried about no money. See, we were worried about you. When I got married, I'm gonna tell you something she said, and I hope I ain't oversharing.
Don't worry about it. Go and tell it.
but speaking of like love without condition, she didn't really want to come to California and be in this wedding and sharing these moments because she didn't have you.
Mm.
And I know I was there when Zanique was born. I was there through all of that stuff. And guess what? I understood.
Right.
Because I've been there. That's not unconditional love, because it was still mansions awaiting. It was still trips being taken, but she didn't want to go nowhere. You know what she wanted to do? She wanted to be able to make sure she got your calls, make sure she made her visits, make sure so when she got to LA, I let her know, like, okay, well, listen, you don't come alone, like, bring mama. You know I love your mama anyway. Bring mama, bring Precious. Let's bring the family and make sure you still feel like you surrounded with love, because the person you love the most is not here. Listen,
Right.
we all got options. She don't want anything else but you. You don't want anything
No,
else
I
but
ain't
her. We
talking
all
about
got
that.
options. That's
But
the
no,
unconditional
I
love,
don't
because
need. I
money's
ain't
all
even.
around us.
I f her a lot, but I already know, man. You know what I'm saying? This vibe here is one that can't be duplicated. I already know that, and you know, and she knows that about herself too. And
Yeah.
I want to talk to what is it? MTG
Uh-oh.
Mag. They said the money doesn't matter. You're right until you don't have it.
That's
The
not
money
true.
doesn't matter until you don't have it. But everything I listen, everything you're saying is correct, Monica. I just did not know that that was what we consider unconditional love. Because even with my wife, it ain't on the conditions of me providing, because she could provide for herself.
Right.
However, and when I mean monetarily, however,
Right.
I have to provide a certain amount of, I guess, reciprocated loyalty and other shit that must be provided in order for that love to continue. And that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. You dig what I'm
Well,
saying? I mean, that's the way it is for everybody. Unconditional love is from mother to child.
but do you
Or
get my point about perspective too, though? Because like each relationship is what it is because of, almost, I would have to say, the unseen, the unknown. You know, like for somebody to say, well, why did she love him so hard? Why did she go so hard for him? There was no money there. There was like, what were they trying to give? About 47 years or something crazy? There was no money there. And I didn't go anywhere. And I still say that I had children there. What I'm saying is that there's a lot of unseen that creates that. It created
mm,
it for your grandmother. It created it for mine. It creates what makes you know, the way you speak to Major ain't the same way you speak to King. The way I speak to Mello ain't the same way I speak to Rock. It's the unseen that we know, because the
yeah,
love is unconditional. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm saying happens in relationships. And the main thing that we have to make sure is that we just don't take them for granted or take advantage of them. And that
I
we're
don't agree that it happens the same way in relationship, because from a father to a
not the love part, the unseen. I'm speaking of
oh,
the
okay, okay,
unseen.
okay,
The
right,
unseen of who you are to her is
right.
why she's still there. And that ain't something that can be bought. What you
Oh no,
doing for
this
her
ain't
for
about
real?
us.
No, for
This
me
ain't about us.
too. I use me as an example.
Now
I
I'm
told
trying
you
to
and these folks
say,
things about me and Rock
look,
that didn't nobody know. You know what I'm saying? Because we didn't have Instagram back then. The people didn't see me sitting in for the federal courtroom, but I was there. Okay,
right,
I never missed any of. And our creator should have known better. The way that record was created was because Jermaine said he never knew that anybody could transfer getting these calls. Now, you know, this back in the day now. Transfer, get them calls to your cell phone. I was dedicated, and it was not because there was something for me to get. It was because the love was unconditional and because of the unseen. The unseen was that when I was at my worst, he was really, really there. So
right.
I have unseen things with Tiny. Why will I pull up no matter what's going on? I don't give a who else she supposed to be friends with. She already know what's going on over here. I'm different from a lot of them. I don't do a lot of the same things. I don't like a lot of the same people.
People,
I'm
places, and things, man.
period. And as she always say, I'm friends with everybody. That's not true. I'm friendly. I'm cordial because I'm hospitable because I am a Southern girl. But who you seen at my house? When you see me pull up, when we filming, who I pull up with? Solo. I don't with all them people
Hey,
she with. But I do feel confident in the unseen for me and her. Because if
good
she
Lord,
called me, I'm coming. That's it.
good
I'm
Lord.
coming.
Hey, listen, right? So I understand everything uh, that you're saying in your perspective and why you have that perspective, and I agree with a lot of parts of it. I just think that when you get into a relationship, you have to. I didn't know this before because this is only my what second relationship, third relationship, right, in my life.
Oh,
So when I got into this relationship, I didn't really know all the things that needed to be cultivated and treasured about a relationship for it to grow and blossom. I had to learn that through trial and error. Okay.
gotcha.
So the
I've
relationship
been a lot of
between
folks trial and error.
absolutely. I mean, I'm proud of it, man. I'm proud of it because a lot of you motherfuckers wouldn't have lasted. A lot of
True.
you wouldn't have lasted. A lot of you women wouldn't have lasted. You dig what I'm
True.
saying? I
True.
mean, and excuse me for all the cursing. You know, some people in your comments are commenting on my cursing, and I apologize, but
What?
I
Well,
am
log
from
off.
I'm
Log
from
off.
I am from
It's
the
an
west
adult
side of
conversation.
the
You don't
city.
have to censor yourself. That's part of what's wrong with the world. That's part of it. I mean, Judge, don't get me started. Go ahead, Tim.
Nothing, man. I just think that, you know what I'm saying, man, when we go into a relationship, we got to know what we're looking for. And if we go into a relationship looking for unconditional love, and we know that that is an anomaly, you dig what I'm
And tell
saying?
people
Then
what that means.
an anomaly, that
I'm
means
just kidding. I know what that means.
that means very like first of its
No, I
kind,
know.
or you know what I'm saying,
I'm rolling.
unusual, unique,
Yes. Yes.
one of a kind. So if you go into a relationship looking for unconditional love, and it's a true anomaly, you have much more room to be disappointed. And that goes from either side, whether you go into a relationship and you find out, man, this person doesn't have unconditional love for me, or you go into a relationship and you find out, I don't have unconditional love for this person.
Mm,
You dig what I'm saying? So
yeah.
that's all I'm saying. If you understand that unconditional love is a true anomaly and
Yeah.
you don't go into a relationship expecting it,
Yeah.
I feel like you have the opportunity to be surprised and less opportunity to be disappointed.
Well, that's a fair perspective. That's fair. That's definitely fair. I mean, I think expectations make life really hard. I'm the same way. Um, Even at work, I think that you still have to have understand what your desires and goals are though. If I know my goal is not to just get into like new age cut buddy situation, it's things that I explain to make sure that's understood. because that's just not who I am, you know? And so
What
I
is a
so
new age cut buddy situation? That sounds like a situationship.
well, that's what I hear all these people doing. And then somebody tried to suggest it for me. Oh no, sister, I know I'm not into that. I'm clear on that. So, so it's kind of cool when you know exactly what the desires of your heart are. It's just like when my mom used to talk to me about praying and being very clear with what it is that you desire. We can have desires and then he knows our needs, but you have to be clear in what you're asking for, know exactly what it is. And I did that with my career. I've done that in a lot of areas, but I haven't always been as clear personally. And so that's something that I'm learning to do, and I'm learning to be able to share that. So sometimes you can save yourself a lot of the heartache when you realize we're just not on the same page, and that's
You,
okay.
you dig what I'm saying? And that ain't nothing wrong with that. I understand
Yeah,
where you're coming from.
that's all
Uh,
I'm feeling over here. That's
just
it.
make
I'm,
just make
I'm
sure the
just.
lady you sending out there into the world to fish out options for you understands that as well.
Amen.
Nah, man. Look, they're my partner, man. I put her on a different level. Okay, yeah, she my wife, but that ain't even really like the most important part of her
Right,
existence to me. Like, you know
right.
what I'm saying? This my partner. So when we broke up, you know what I'm saying, we had our time where we couldn't stand to sight each other, and that was cool. But I told her, listen, I lose my wife. I ain't finna lose my partner, so I'm gonna still be around. So you know what I'm saying? You just gonna have to figure it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If whatever you with can't, if whatever you decide to go with that can't you in front of me, that no way. You know what I'm saying? And
Well,
so
the
I'm gonna
hell
be
would
here.
that be? That wouldn't be nobody. Here,
Right.
I ain't saying it is. I ain't really look, man.
you
I'm a
know what you
realist.
be doing. You
I,
know what
I'm
you
a
be
realist.
doing.
I'm a realistic person. You dig what I'm saying? And I know us as human beings, everybody have, momentary lustful desires this way, that way. It ain't just for men. I know women look at people and they get their little penis in a bunch and all that on too. I don't care nothing about that. I really don't. I don't care nothing about that. Cause, cause after the ooh woo is over with, now what you settling down into? Once you done came down and the high ain't there no more,
Little man stand.
now women do it too. You done had your moments.
No, I ain't had no moment. Not like that.
Yo, Instagram and I be in this again. See, I ain't moved nowhere.
That's why we got out.
You say what?
That's why we got our own show on Monday nights on VH1.
You
That's
did
right.
what I'm saying?